Hey everyone, so I wanted to talk to you today about how to transform your annotated bibliography that you spent so much time on into a really good workable research paper. And so this is the whole reason why you did an annotated bibliography in the first place. And just to kind of recap, an annotated bibliography is just kind of a long-winded outline. It's a gathering of your sources where you take the different sources that you plan on using for a research paper and you do a deep dive into them and talk about them in depth. So on the screen here, you'll see that I have my example entry that I've made available for you as an example. This is an entry that I did for an annotated bibliography. And I took this article talking about the ghost, Hamlet Sr., and my topic, as it's been throughout this entire process for my example, was the role of women. Well, you might be wondering, why am I using a source talking about the ghost when my topic is about the role of women? Well, as you'll see in my example, hopefully, I make that point pretty clear. So anyway, so that being said, here's my example entry. I have my source citation, which I will copy and paste into my works cited page for my research paper. This entire thing will get copied and pasted into my works cited page, put in alphabetical order based on the first word in the citation. So in this case, it's McDonald's, so M. That'll be the place that I put this on my works cited page, which is the last page of my research paper. Here's a summary of the source. I don't need that for my research paper. This is just so that I don't have to go back and reread the article, that I can just look at my summary and be like, oh yeah, that's what that was talking about. When you did your entry for the primary source, for the Hamlet play itself, you actually can copy and paste your summary paragraph that you did for the entry for your play and put that as your summary paragraph for the research paper, because you do need to include a summary of the play in your research paper. So when you're looking at the entry for the play itself, feel free to copy and paste this. This is the evaluation paragraph that you did. This was just so that you knew for your own purposes, for your own notes, how useful this particular article was. The reason you did this was so that when you are synthesizing your sources and copying and pasting everything, this paragraph will kind of help you decide, do I want this source with this other source, or do I want this source with this particular quote from the play, or how do I want to use this source in my research paper? That's what this paragraph was helpful for. You're not copying and pasting anything from this. Now, here's the reflective paragraph. Now, I told you to treat the reflective paragraph from your annotated bib as a body paragraph of your research paper. I told you that the more you can make your annotated bib reflection paragraph look like a research paper body paragraph, that the easier your life will be. And here's why. Now I want to do a quick glance at this, and you'll notice that there's a bunch of this paragraph that's highlighted in red. Now the reason I did that was for a visual cue for you. When you're doing this for real, for your own grade, don't change the color of the font, okay? Leave everything like this. Leave everything regular Times New Roman 12-point font, black color. I only highlighted this in red so that you could see just how much of this paragraph I plan on copying and pasting into my research paper. So as you can see, it's quite a bit. It's, in fact, the vast majority of this paragraph. Now, I didn't just copy and paste like this entire section as one. I copied and pasted like here to here and here to here, whatever. And you'll see when you see the other example of the finished product that I just took pieces and placed them here and there where they fit based on the connections that I made between my evaluation paragraphs of my various sources. So the part of transforming the annotated bib into the research paper that takes a little bit of time is deciding, how do I want these sources to synthesize with one another? How do I want them to play with one another? I have this source from George MacDonald. Well, how does this source play with the play itself. The things that he says, the quotes that I want to pull from his article, how do those tie into the play itself? How do they tie into the other sources that I've gathered? Well, that's going to take a little bit of planning on my part. And so I'm going to, as I see pieces from this paragraph that I think will fit with other pieces of other paragraphs that I've written in the annotated bibliography, well, that's where I will copy and paste things. Okay. So that being said, the finished product will look something like this. And so here is my finished paragraph. Now this is just a body paragraph for my research paper, sorry. I've highlighted in green. This phrase ties back to my thesis, okay? So that I know the direction that I want this particular paragraph to take. And then everything that you see that's in red are copied and pasted from, this one's copied and pasted from my reflection paragraph of the play itself. This one's copied and pasted from the reflection paragraph of the source I just showed you. This is all from the source I just showed you. This is from the play itself. This is all from the source that I just showed you. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done is I've combined the source that I just showed you from George MacDonald and pieces of the reflection paragraph from the play itself. So I've taken those two reflection paragraphs and taken pieces of each and tied them together. Now, all the parts here that I have that are not highlighted in any particular color, these are transition sentences that I've built in between the things that I've copied and pasted, so that when I go back and read it, it actually makes sense, so that they tie in together. So you may have to do a little bit of that where I just add a few phrases or a few sentences here and there to make this piece make sense when combined with this other piece. Okay, so it's kind of like building a puzzle. You're just taking pieces of your annotated bib and deciding how they play together and piecing them together as best you can, and then adding things here and there so that the transition of piecing them together is a little bit more smooth. So if you did your annotated bib correctly, this process will be very, very quick. I've seen students build their entire research paper in under an hour doing this. And then the only thing that you'll have to do from scratch for the research paper is build an introductory paragraph and a conclusion paragraph. And I'll have a separate video on that. So that should do it.